let's wrap things up with the New York Jets. And you guys, I feel like you guys helped me build toward this ridiculous statistic that I have for a training camp stat. You guys have been dropping some little nuggets of training camp stats. Well, get this. Zach Wilson at Jets camp the other day completed a pass at 67 miles per hour, the fastest documented training camp pass in the next gen stat era. That the next gen stats track training camp stats since 2017. And Zach Wilson has thrown the fastest pass in training camp history. That's what it is.
They track it because nerds like you will
Damn
go
right.
and look them up and talk about them.
Damn right. It's not like I just look up like ridiculous. It's not like I Google search. Actually, you probably can go through my Google search and see the fact that I search ridiculous stats to drop on the Stats City podcast. That's what it is.
That's exactly how it's Googled, by the way.
Exactly how it's Googled. Exactly how it's Googled. No, but the Jets camp has been rolling. There's been a lot of good sights and sounds from the Jets camp. Zach Wilson has looked up and down, up and down. Aaron, I'm going to start with you with Zach Wilson. What do you look for in a training camp for a second-year quarterback like Zach Wilson? What are the things you're hoping to see along those lines for the second-year man?
Improvement and comfort. Like, I don't expect Zach Wilson to come out this year and be Patrick Mahomes year 2 or Josh Allen or whatever. Like, I want to see improvement and I want to see comfort and chemistry. Is he doing things this year that he wasn't able to do last year? Is reading defense a little bit better? Can he now pick up schemes on defense and make adjustments? Maybe can he change more plays at the line of scrimmage? Does he have a better handle of the offense? Those are things that I'm looking for, because at the end of the day, it's all about reps, and it's all about how many reps is he going to get in-game action to improve. And you can only do so much in training camp, and I think that's important. But we talked about developing connections with guys like Elijah Moore, and I know AJ is going to talk about him, and the things he's been doing in camp have been special. Garrett Wilson's a rookie, coming in and kind of taking him under his wing and kind of developing that connection. Then you have guys like Corey Davis who now have been there a year. So I think this is just about growth for Zach Wilson. He's already talked about, this is not football really related, but he deleted his social media, saying that he just didn't want to hear any more of the outside noise. There's guys that he needs or things he needs to focus on, and the people that he needs to focus on are the people that he talks to. He doesn't need to hear from anybody else. I like that mentality. I don't like it if it means people got under your skin, but I do like it if you say, you know what, the hell with the outside noise. I'm going to do me, and I'm going to focus on being the best quarterback that I can be. So I'm okay with that mindset. I think that will breed, hey, let's just get better each day. And by game 6, 7, 8, 9, we can look at the product that the Jets are putting on the field and say, maybe they did draft their franchise quarterback.
Yeah. And what do you think? What do you think about the struggles that he's had during camp so far? Because there's been reports saying that he's been very up and down. And most recently, I believe it was yesterday's camp, the offense had 2 3-and-outs during their live chances, and 2 straight 3-and-outs. And what do you think about that?
Yeah, I always find it funny in those conversations, because you're going to go 3-and-out 100 times in the NFL. Like, you're going to go 3-and-out a ton of times in the NFL. These defenses are always ahead of the offenses. Like I mentioned before, in training camp, the preseason, defenses are going to look better. Why don't we give some credit to Robert Saleh and what he's done with that defense and how they've improved with the draft status and the free agent signings that they've made? I'm not going to knock him. I'm not going to knock Zach Wilson because he struggled a little bit in camp. I expect struggles. I expect him to learn from those struggles and turn that into positive results going forward. So I don't want to get caught up in his limited reps at training camp, where he might only see 4 or 5 series, goes 3-and-out in 2 of them, and everybody's, oh my God, because we got to bring in the backup now to get his reps. So talk to me more when I see some preseason action and they can't get anything going, or the first game of the year and we're still looking and like they score 6 points and can't get anything on it. Then I'll start to be like, I need to see more, Zach Wilson. I need to see more. Yeah. But right now, I'm not too concerned.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be way more worried if my offense is scoring every time, because that means it doesn't matter how many points you put up. If everyone's going to just run down the field on you, and with the defense that the moves they made, you should be happy that the defense is making some stops.
We didn't even bring up the fact that the Jets did bring in Quan Alexander on a 1-year deal, the former Saints linebacker, who is a pretty good linebacker. I mean, he's not a slouch. He's a very good
linebacker. He's battled injury, but he's a good linebacker.
To have him and CJ Mosley there.
They got some names on paper in New York for the defense, man.
Well, remember, I was excited about him last year, and I might have been a year too early. I admitted that.
You mentioned that too, though, that they were going to get better with Robert Salah and the piece they had, and the lack of people who are on the field due to injury. So coming back this year, if this team can stay healthy, I can't say it out loud because it's just too weird. But them Jets.
I told you. I said better record than the Patriots last year was my bold prediction. Like when we did our bold prediction.
Now it's not so bold.
Now it's not. No. I said it earlier this year too. It's not bold anymore. The Jets will have a better record than the Patriots this year. I said that. I did say that before, and then I saw their schedule and I was like, ooh. But that's beside the point. That's beside the
point. So you brought up how with Zach Wilson and he goes off the field. Well, his backup quarterback is Joe Flacco, and I've seen multiple plays from Joe Flacco to one Elijah Moore during Jets training camp. AJ, how has Elijah Moore looked in camp now? Obviously, with Garrett Wilson coming in, and they have, it's a good wide receiver group, and Elijah Moore could be the leader.
I think he is the leader. I think Elijah Moore made a very important step in the offseason. Only playing 11 games last year, but he made sure that while he was injured and while the offseason was going on, he took everything he could from those 11 games and learned from them. He's come in and he's looked great. I mean, even the day that he didn't look great, the very next day he bounced back, learned from most of the mistakes he made and fixed it. And he's been doing it every which way in camp. Doesn't matter Zach Wilson throwing the ball for 60 yards or Joe Flacco, where Joe Flacco wasn't even accurate, but he went and go get it with a one-hand grab that the team can't stop talking about, that the crowd erupts with, 80-yard bombs, taking Garrett Wilson under the wing, like you said. I think that he has acknowledged the fact that they brought in a very talented guy. And one, like we talked about the other day, in the NFL, you have to believe you're the best guy on your team. And he wasn't going to let a talented guy like Garrett Wilson come in and supplant him in any way, shape, or form. He's going to work with them and make this team look as good as they are hoping them to be. But I think Elijah Moore has, I don't want to say solidified, but has the best chance of anybody to be the number one. And I mean, you probably could say solidified looking at who they have left. So they have a really good chance to be really good with him leading the receiver corps and not having to worry too much about going all the way down to a Corey Davis and or a Denzel Mims, respectfully.
Oh man. That's another name. Denzel Mims was the guy that there was a lot of hope for, and then now he's just lost to the shuffle, I feel like.
I find it interesting that the depth chart shows Elijah Moore as an outside receiver more, and Garrett Wilson's now listed as the slot receiver to start. And I know it's early, but that's pretty interesting to me because I think Elijah Moore fits that slot receiver a little bit better than Garrett Wilson. I feel like Garrett Wilson's going to end up being a prototypical outside receiver, but I don't know that Corey Davis is really not in the mix. Like, I think Corey Davis on the field is going to be a factor. This might be a discussion about Garrett Wilson having to wait his turn to, until Corey Davis is gone or until he's not producing in order to really get an opportunity to be on the field as much. Because I think Elijah Moore has established himself as going to be on the field. And I think to start the year, I think it'll be Corey Davis because he's the veteran, because he's been there in the offense, that they're going to give him the opportunity before we really get to see a Garrett Wilson, fly. And let's not forget, Braxton Barrios. I know it sounds silly. That connection at the end of last year was absolutely real. And he is going to be on the field because he is a game changer type of player for them, and they love him. They signed him to a new deal. I'm not saying Garrett Wilson's getting pushed aside by no means. He is a rookie. So he could be that backseat kind of guy to start the year early, and then maybe you see him come on. Maybe it's a Amon-Ra St. Brown type situation early in the year. I'm not saying he's going to do what he did late, but where he's not really all the way there, and then he gets better as the year goes on before supplanting one of those guys in front of him.
Hear me correctly. I think Garrett Wilson's going to have a Justin Jefferson type of start where the first 3 weeks are, you're like waiting for it. And then that week 4, he breaks out and doesn't look back. I'm not saying he's going to have 1,500 yards in his first year or anything, but I do believe it. Yeah, it may be a little slow, but I think you're going to see his talent, his route running, his ability earlier in the season, that first quarter. Take a couple weeks, really start learning the speed of the NFL. But once he gets going, I don't think there's any turning back. And I think between him and Elijah Moore, You're gonna see kind of like what happens in Arizona. You have your two guys that you're trying to throw the ball to all the time, and then you have a weapon that you know can go get it in Corey Davis, and you use him. I'm not saying on the field situationally, but maybe 3rd and 11, where I've seen Garrett Wilson do it when we don't need him to, but he's doing it. But I need this. I need to be able to throw the ball somewhere, and regardless of where it's at, Corey Davis is going to come down with it. I think you see that start to happen coming week 6, week 7, stuff like that. I just watched so much tape on Garrett Wilson, and I understand it was college. But
I agree with you. I agree with you. I do think it's one of those, when he gets his opportunity, there is no looking back. I just mean to start the year. I don't think it's like,
right,
hey, this is not a situation where he's coming in and, like a Drake London, and is going to be forced to be on the field, right? You have guys that have been there that are going to be there first. They're going to trust out the gate. And then as you slowly like integrate Garrett Wilson and you see what he's capable of, you're like, okay, we can't keep this guy off the field. And then you start to put him in, and the next thing you know, now it's Corey Davis kind of playing that backseat role, and it's Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson. But I do think that'll take time. I don't think that's week 1. I think, like you said, maybe week 3, 4, 5, and as you go further into the season.
I mean, there's a lot of good potential pass catchers there in New York with, I mean, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis.
No
then
excuses.
You talk about the pass catching work for Michael Carter, Breece Hall. You bring in CJ Uzama. You bring in Tyler Conklin. I mean, these are all these guys are going to be catching the ball.
In my head, I'm sitting here like, gosh, imagine if we're sitting here talking about Tua having this team instead too. Like this, that's kind of how I feel. Like you got to give Zach Wilson a little bit more leeway because it's his second year and whatnot. But like, we went from one team that we said didn't have weapons to a team that didn't have weapons. You look at both of these teams and you feel like there's weapons all over the field.
They address their needs. They address their needs.
Yeah.
They went and got them. Because when you invest in a first-round quarterback that you know after 4 years or 5 years, you're going to have to pay millions and millions of dollars. You better be able to tell after 4 years whether they're the guy. It's the same thing the Cleveland Browns did, right? They went and surrounded Baker Mayfield with all the talent in the world and said, show us why we need to pay you this amount of money. And he couldn't do it. And so now we're in the same situation with these other 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, for sure. And the Jets are going to be one of the most exciting teams to watch.